Hello lovelies. I hope you didn't miss me since the last video, as I had to take a break cause of real life reasons. But Love Angel is back with another episode of Commander Review. Today we have a very special commander that we wanted to check. Petyr Baelish, or as we all know him. The Little Finger is one of the sneakiest commanders in this game, as he was in the show. Or maybe he prefers to call it chaos and doesn't like it be called being sneaky.
But what do we have left once we abandon the lie? Chaos. A gaping pit waiting to swallow us all.
Chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
Baelish is an ancient awakening cavalry commander and one of the original premium commanders of game. Both him and his special awakening packs are available in Shop Weekly with highest price base. You also can obtain both his medals and awakening tokens from the Summer Dance event. He comes with typical premium commanders bonuses that boost total stats. He can add 25% to each total stat at gold quality and above 56% when he is awakened to 3 stars and books of wisdom were used for him. This means, stat-wise, he doesn't care with which troop he's used with. But what makes him special is his spicy awakening skill. His awakening skill, that is called Malicious Speculation, adds an effect called Disharmony on some of enemy commanders. This effect causes them to attack their own troops, and effectively turns their strength to their own weaknesses. He casts this effect after 25 seconds in battle or when 8 weakness attacks are done, so having multiple healers or healers with main hands that cast heal more often and bring weakness attacks faster can speed up casting of Disharmony by Baelish as well. To understand this skill, we need to review some of the words that were mentioned in that skill. First is weakness attack. Weakness attack is a special attack by troops. When troops do a weakness attack instead of a normal attack, they will target the enemy's weakest lineup. Doing weakness attack boosts troops damage each time, and this increased damage stack up. Also, when troops are doing a weakness attack, they are immune to disarm. Disarm is a skill that is casted often by the female synergy commanders. The disarm commanders are Daenerys, Cersei, and Margaery. When a lineup is disarmed, their normal attack damage reduces to 0. Weakness attacks are immune to disarm. But to understand what Disharmony does, we need to first review Active Army skill itself. Active Army skill itself, all commanders' damage is the first army skill all commanders have. Just like the image here, this skill simply causes commanders to attack an enemy frontline lineup based on the average damage of the lineups in their own column. There are 5 columns each, with 4 lineups and 1 commander, so each commander damage is based on 1/5 of the army that were stationed in their column. Night King is the only commander without active army skill, as he has a different skill that damages the enemy based on their dragon strength instead. I discussed how active army skill works in an older video of mine in this channel, but I will try to redo that video sometime soon to review this important aspect of game. Finally, Disharmony is a state for commanders in which they will target their own troops instead of the enemy troops with active army skill. Disharmony will do nothing about commanders awakening normally and only affects the commander's active army skill or their raw damage. Well, that is mostly true. There are few awakening skills that are different, and I will get to them later in this video. But before that, let's check out his main hand as well. Baelish main hand, which is the famous dagger that any Game of Thrones fan knows about, increases the chances of Disharmony cast and adds a new effect on his cast. After owning the main hand, he also curses enemy commanders. Cursed state will mean commanders will reduce their troops' health as they target them with active army skill cause of Disharmony. This reduction can be up to 12 each time, which is really effective. So, if we want to summarize Baelish, we can see these specific relationships between him and other commanders. The first relationship is between him and Commander Jaime in heal and weakness setup. As discussed earlier, having early weakness attacks can speed up the cast of his awakening skill to cast Disharmony. Disharmony can hurt all commanders that have active army skill, so a setup that is heavily relied on the commander's active army skill hurt a lot from it. This setup is obviously the female setup. Commander Baelish specifically counter Leela as she increases the amount of time active army skill is casted, and that's a disadvantage if commanders are under effective disharmony. He doesn't do anything about Salma, as Salma's damage is at first second of battle and disharmony happens later. This first second damage is something that actually deserves its own video, so I promise to circle back to it and explain it in detail. But Baelish does nothing about the first second damage, which is sources mainly by Salma and Daenerys' extra dragon attack.
And which truth is that?
Knowledge is power.
Seize him. Cut his throat. Stop. Wait. I've changed my mind. Let him go. Step back 3 paces. Turn around. Close your eyes. Power is power.
Even though Daenerys' dragon attack is not affected by disharmony, the second part of her awakening skill, which is faster active army skill casting, and the disarm is heavily affected by disharmony. Also, commanders Annie and Arya with their awakening get heavily affected by Baelish disharmony. I will get to this effect a bit later in this same video. And of course, Commander Sinel. She can add massively to your active army skill damage of all commanders, especially in later seconds, so having Sinel against Baelish is very bad for your own army. On the other hand, since Baelish is all about the active army skill, if your commanders don't have any active army skill, an enemy Baelish becomes useless. That is why a commander like Rhaenyra that silences all your commanders is considered the main counter against Baelish. What Rhaenyra does as a commander is that she removes all the active army skill of your commanders and adds massively to the troop normal attack in both the frequency and damage. So she is like a converter that converts the active army skill damage to troop attack damage. This effectively makes your commanders immune to an enemy Baelish, as the disharmony will have zero effect afterward. A Baelish that is facing a Rhaenyra is like a commander that doesn't have any active awakening skill, like Russell, and that's something that people who spend this much on Baelish really don't want to see. But going back to the commanders Baelish is really useful against. We mentioned Daenerys, Arya, and Annie. Well, this is, for example, Daenerys' awakening skill. Do you see the part I marked red? She disarms the lineup she is targeting, which means if she is under effect of disharmony, she will be disarming your own armies in addition of hitting them. Though for Daenerys with her main hand, this skill changes to 2 random frontline lineups of the enemy, which means her awakening skill becomes immune to disharmony when she has main hand. For Annie and Arya though, this will stay even with their main hands, and because of the nature of their awakening skill, that it applies on the targeted lineup by active army skill, their awakening skill will also be redirected by disharmony. You can see this disturbing effect in game reports as well. All in all, his best friend is Jaime. Worst enemy is Rhaenyra, and he loves hitting Leela, Daenerys, and Sanelle, and in general, the female synergy. His tavern bonus is not that spectacular for his price. He adds 5 points in aptitude and finance and 3 points in leadership without awakening. The leadership is really great for sure for people who prioritize the army and rally size. Even though he's good in normal fights, he is very mediocre in other aspects of game. In strategic events, he boosts normal attack damage of armies and gives them a chance of double attack, which makes him an okay commander for formations that rely heavily on troop damage boost. His guard skill is an AoE damage, but the damage isn't too much. He can increase his skill cast the more enemies die during the fight. Regardless, you would not be spending on Baelish to use him against rebel leaders or in training ground. Overall, Baelish is an amazing commander to counter female synergy and a very important character in the heal and weakness synergy. As you can see, he rates really high with fight-related aspects, but low overall Ion general activities. I hope you all enjoyed this throughout review of Commander Baelish. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed this video and subscribe right now to not miss my future videos. I'll be back with some important videos soon that you can't possibly miss, so stay tuned for them. Have a great time, everyone.